Hello, Eric. I'm back to the Central New York, and right now in Utica, in Barnes and Noble bookstore. So uh, I've been thinking about your questions regarding ecclesiology. I need to retrieve one book which was borrowed from me, and that make my task easy to come up with several examples of this point that I made regarding uh, common ground that was shared by academic theologians during the imperial period of the Russian history. But right now, I meant to share with you my experience during the past months of traveling. So, my experience with the Russian church, basically, it can be called multifaceted Russian church. First, I was in Moscow taking part in the interconsular meetings there, and it was sort of expected, straight down to business. And Metropolitan Larion in Russia, I mean not Rocker, but Metropolitan Larion Alfeev, he has very limited time, so he chaired a 2-hour long meeting, which is really too much for him. So, and this was dedicated to issues of theology and education. It's not exactly my thing, but somehow I got appointed to this committee. And one document that we supposed to discuss was attitude toward various toward a manifestation of extremism in various religions. And just I objected that how can we speak regarding various religions, because we would need to assess what is the proper thing, what is the wrong thing. So, and they made some modifications to this document, but still not very comfortable. I don't think really it's our task to speak about this, but apparently the Russian church also exists as a political body. So, and that's from where intentions to have documents like that come from. Right. So in Moscow it was kind of official business, but no problem. Then from Moscow, my next experience with the Russian church was in Bari, Italy. And we came there, I joined a group of pilgrims from Odessa who went there. We prearranged that meeting there in Bari, Italy, where Saint Nicholas relics are. Met there. It was June 21st when we met there on the evening, and next morning was Thursday, and Thursday is a day when Russian Orthodox have their liturgy served at the basilica, right? At Sepulchre, the basement part of the basement church in the basilica. And I was received very warmly, offered to serve. I was really privileged to be a single deacon there. And Metropolitan Innocent of Lithuania presided, and he presided as a priest but not as a bishop. And in Lithuania they don't have a self-governing church as they do in other Baltic states, and Russian Church Abroad is also a self-governing church. So, but they do have a diocese there that consists of 56 parishes. And Metropolitan Innocent was very kind, very gentle, very humble. So, and overall the whole impression was, I felt very grateful. And after that, on Saturday, and it was Thursday, on Saturday we reached Rome with this group of Orthodox, with this group of clergymen and their wives. We reached on a densely packed car, the densely packed sedan. We reached Rome. And I went for the vigil to St. Catherine's Church, just outside Vatican City. And it was different there. I was already asked to show papers next day because Bishop was celebrated next day, and was told when I supposed to be in church on next day. So kind of was really official, quite cold, I would say. So next morning, one of the priests with whom we traveled had a conversation with me, and his wife was on the first month of pregnancy, so he was concerned. She didn't feel well. I really didn't want to cut him off, to cut him down. So, and I was on my way out, but somehow I delayed. And on the other hand, I didn't feel that I have to hire a taxi. It would cost me like 20-40 euros. And because they had a proto-deacon there in this church who expected to be served, who expected to serve. So as a result, instead of 9:10, I show up at 9:40 during hours. In the Russian church abroad, I would expect Bishop would say, okay, get vested, because nothing was happening. Everyone was just standing within the sanctuary. So I met a hierarch, Moscow Patriarchate Bishop Anthony, who is now in charge of over 80 parishes in Italy and all other countries that don't have formal dioceses outside of Russia. And he was very formal, kind of pointing out that I was expected at 9:10, and I explained that I'm a pilgrim, and so I was a pilgrim. So and that's how it's lasted until the end, quite official. So that was his experience. Then after that, my next stop was in Chiswick, London, in the Russian Church abroad. That's kind of my home away from home, and everything was as expected. It was received very hospitably, and it was good. Okay, and from there I traveled to Kiev, right, to Ukraine. I was there for 2 days and met with people from Kiev's academy in the capacity of an instructor from the Chicago and Mid-America Pastoral School. Since the rector of the school, Archbishop Peter, he signed agreement with Kiev Theological Academy about cooperation, since students of the academy are interested in boosting up their English, and they could take classes online and they could get familiar with sort of formal American education, because classes are guided based on American templates, kind of educational templates, academic templates, syllabus and requirements and so on. They're kind of similar to what people would get in colleges. So we discussed those things, and I served on the broth of St. John the Baptist in a church in one of the sort of dormitory quarters of the town where people mostly live, but there are very little business or industrial enterprises. It was a regular church, and priest said Father Nikolai Danilevich, who works for the Department of External Relations of the Ukrainian Church of Moscow Patriarchate, said a very nice word, also pointing out that there was a prayer for Ukraine read at the service, and that this prayer has been read throughout all parishes of the Russian Church globally. And he pointed out about necessity to maintain fraternal relations with people from Russia, because they are the closest relatives to the Ukrainians. And then again, it was very warm. We had very warm meeting with an academic dean of the Kiev's Academy, and he pointed out that the whole ethos, interaction between faculty and students were different, because people could not afford any bullying, sort of. If faculty or people in administration would bull any students, it could fire them back because one day they might have to defend the church somewhere, against like schismatics or Greek Catholics perhaps. And in this case, they need to rely on each other because they really live in front line. So that was also good. And from there I went to Riga. And in Riga, I meant to co-celebrate one priest, and I sent him a paper signed by my rector, Archimandrite Luke, explaining that I am not suspended, I am in good standing, and so on, that I am a deacon attached to the Holy Trinity Monastery. And Metropolitan Alexander of Latvia just said no. So without that basically no is no. So I was not allowed to serve in Latvia, and in Latvia sort of climate temperature was quite cold, sort of, in this sense. They were not interested in any contacts, relations. They just want to, live their own life without any outsiders, apparently. And last stop was in Moscow, 2 weeks ago, right? I served in with Father Archimandrite Sava, and who again warmly received me in St. Elias, the Prophet Church in Moscow. And I also was privileged, with his help, to be part of the co-celebrants to our Metropolitan Hilarion of Moscow, and first of all to His Holiness Patriarch of Russia during St. Sergio's celebrations in Moscow, in Holy Trinity St. Sergio's Lavra. So it gives you really idea about how different is Russian Church, how different attitudes could be there, and how hard it's really speak about sort of to represent one attitude as something that represents the entire church. Okay, so I would like to hear from you. I hope you keep up with things, and I hope you find them useful, and I hope you are doing well, Eric. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.